one step closer to a level of normalcy. I'll tell you what I miss more than anything. I missed going to restaurants. I also miss going to shows, going to concerts. As anybody who knows me and knows me well, I go to a lot of comedy clubs on a weekly basis. I love live stand-up comedy. And I've frequented one of those comedy places, which is called the Comedy Cellar, located at the Rio. I've seen some great comedians there. It's a great date night. Go out with your friends, have a good time, have a couple drinks, and just get a bunch of laughs. I mean, to me, that's what life is all about. And the guy joining us on the line right now, he is the MC of the Comedy Cellar. You've also seen this guy best known for hosting Comedy Central's Make Me Laugh all the way back in 1998. Holy cow, I was a senior in high school. And,
gosh.
That's right. His name is Mark Cohen. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Mark?
Sure, I'm doing wonderful. I'm in the living the sauna life out here.
Yeah, it is pretty hot out there. So, Mark, I got to ask you something because I wanted to start with this because we were just talking about this Jimmy Fallon blackface scandal. And, Sarah Silverman, if you recall, she took a little flack for when she did that. So I know you were on the Sarah Silverman program, and you actually did a film with Sarah Silverman called Who's the Caboose? What do you make of this whole situation as a comedian yourself and this blackface stuff? I think there's different levels. I don't think Jimmy Fallon necessarily did anything wrong. What do you say to that?
It is. You're gonna try to get me in trouble now. I'm in blackface right now, actually, as we're talking. No, it's I don't even know the Fallon situation that much. I do know he apologized pretty rapidly, which I don't know if it's the right thing to do. You maybe have to take a step back. And from what I understand, Chris Rock was involved, and I guess people are going to get offended by anything anyway. And I also think Sarah apologized too, which I was a little surprised about as well. But it's a different time, and people evolve. I guess people thoughts change and things like that.
Aren't there levels of things you've been doing this for a long time, things you do on stage that you just don't do? For example, Kramer, right? Remember that situation?
I was just thinking of him because he was another guy. He was like one of the first guys that I believe got in trouble for getting caught on stage and things. And I always thought, when it first happened, I was like, he was doing a bit, and it just got out of hand, and he, But then the next day he kind of comes out and says, "No, I'm a racist, and I'm going to go get help." And I'm like, "Oh, so whatever I say, it doesn't. Who knows?"
But what about So you were
because I'd worked with him a couple of times, and he was just out there, and figured he was kind of doing a bit or an improv, and he was made a mistake.
It didn't go too well. It didn't go too well for him. All right, so. You've worked with some controversial people. Now, I love Louis C.K. I'm a huge Louis C.K. fan. I love the show Louis, and you appeared on that show. Louis C.K. got into a little bit of he's been in a few situations. First of all, masturbating in front of women, just asking them, "Hey, can I masturbate in front of you?" And
can't do that.
There's a lot of women that have come forward that are saying he made them feel very uncomfortable. I mean, what do you make of this guy? Because you worked with Louis C.K. You were on his show.
I did. I was in a couple of his short films, and we started off together. I love Louis, but I haven't talked to him in a few years. But it's another. You never. It's like it's like kind of looking at someone's relationship. You have no idea what goes on in their house. I love Louis. He's always been the sweet guy. I've never seen him do anything malicious.
Never masturbated in front of you before. Is that fair to say?
I'm not going to go on record saying that. I mean, it wasn't something we talked about. He was like, "Hey, what are you doing? Let's go masturbate." You never know what people's going on. I would have never thought he had any kind. I thought he was a strange, esoteric guy like we all are. But I have no interest in masturbating.
Would you call that a master date under those circumstances?
He was the master at masturbating.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what. I love that show, Louis, and I also loved Sarah Silverman. I'm a big fan of both of theirs. So I mean, I know you've been at this Comedy Cellar as the MC, and you do a great job in doing that. I've seen you before, and a lot of people are hurting. Right? It's one thing to watch a comedian on YouTube or watch a Netflix special or something, but it's another thing. I'm sure you'll agree, Mark, to actually be able to go to a show and watch stand-up comedy live, just like a concert or anything else. So, I mean, how have you dealt with this whole coronavirus situation? And are you writing new material? Like, how have you been able to get through this?
Well, it is tough. It's getting, when it first happened, I was like, oh, it's going to be 2 weeks and we'll be back, So it's gone on much longer than I thought. At first, it was kind of, I wouldn't want to say nice, but it was like, hey, we're just going to relax. I've been there. Sometimes I'd work 7 nights a week for, 6 months or something, without a day off. So it felt pretty good, but now it's just crazy. And I know it's like riding a bike, though. As soon as you jump on, it's going to be like it was yesterday,
Yeah. I mean, it is a wild and crazy situation. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Mark Cohen. He is the MC at the Comedy Cellar down there at the Rio. So phase 2 now. June 4th, I guess Steve Sisolak is giving casinos the okay to open up. In the last 24 hours, the last few days, has the Rio, anyone over there given you guys any information on when exactly a comedy show would be able to open up? Because my understanding is phase 2 does not allow shows and entertainment venues to open up, right?
It's so crazy. I mean, it seems like being in a bar would be closer than being on stage. But at the same time, it's like, from my point of view, too, it's like people sharing a mic. You don't think about it. The audience is a couple feet away. So it's a crazy situation. They know I would love to be back on stage, the Cellar and the Rio. And I'm sure as they think it's safe, they're going to do it. But I hope it's you don't want to do it for 2 weeks and then go, oh, shoot, the MC got sick or whoever got sick.
Right.
And then they,
Sure.
It's kind of cool, though. I think it's interesting to do it if it's half capacity where people are spread out. It's a totally different situation for a comedian, too. Comedians like the people gathered together and close and they can feel the energy. So it'll give it a different vibe,
I would imagine there's going to be a lot of coronavirus jokes when you guys open back up. There's going to be a lot of jokes in regards
Tons
to.
of them.
I mean, there's nothing funny about 100,000 people dying, but there's certainly something funny about seeing.
140.
Yeah, but 140, then that could. Yeah, exactly. But no, in all seriousness, it's crazy.
It is a strange situation because when this started happening, it was still horrible, but we were still on stage, and you could make jokes about it. But other things that happened horrifically, you can't. So it's like, who knows if people will be talking about it,
Yeah, do you know a lot of comedians, people that have performed at your particular event, or just friends of yours that are doing live shows, on the internet for their fans at this time?
Do I know people that are doing it?
Yeah. Do you know a lot of comedians that are doing that?
Not really. I mean, I see the stuff go by. It seems hard. I saw somebody doing it outside on the back of a truck in a a movie theater, like a drive-in movie theater. There were all kinds of cars pulled up. So I imagine the guys on stage and the goes to each car, But how do you hear the laughter,
Oh my God, that is so bizarre. That is so bizarre. What do you make of the political spectrum we're in right now? I mean, is Donald Trump giving you a lot of material to talk about?
That's the other thing. It's like I've been doing this a long time. Like you said, this is the only time you can't even say the president's name without people getting mad. It's like even if the joke is like in favor of him, you're going to piss off half the people.
Has that happened to you where you've said something in one of your acts? Because like you said, you've been doing this a long time, where somebody got so pissed off they walked out or they said something to you. Like, have you had situations like that on stage? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember years ago I was in Atlantic City, and they said, whatever you do, don't swear, don't swear, don't swear. So I'm not swearing. And all of a sudden this group of, older people, they're probably my age now, but they got up and they're leaving. And I said, well, why are you leaving? They said, you're making fun of the president. I don't remember who the president was even, but it was like, what? You can't, you go into a comedy club and, you can disagree, but.
People are idiots. I think that's just what it comes down to. People are idiots. I mean, you go to a comedy club, you're there to laugh. I love it. I remember I went to an Andrew Dice Clay show, and he was making fun of me, and it was probably the funnest 5 minutes I've ever had at a comedy show. I love that stuff. I guess there's people out. Do you think that people are just too sensitive? I don't understand why people walk into a comedy show and expect that they're not going to be offended by something. That's what makes it fun.
I'm the most unoffensive, I think. I don't, I swear, but I don't talk, but people get offended, and it's people. It's their, it's kind of like that lady in the park, the indignant, people become indignant.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. Well, I want to give you an opportunity before we let you go, Mark, to plug the Comedy Cellar. We hope that you guys obviously open again soon. Tell me a little bit about this club, because I know it hasn't been there that long, right? A few years, if I'm not mistaken. Tell me a little bit about the history of this club and what you guys do there.
In the Vegas one or the original in New York?
Give us both. I'd love to hear the one in New York and the history of that one as well.
Well, the original in New York was my home club, and it really is, I believe, not because I work for the people, but the best club in the country. The way they treat the comedians and the quality of the shows, and when I found out they were thinking of doing a show here, I called up the owner, Noam, and I said, "Hey, I have a daughter here that goes to school here, and it would be great for me, and hopefully it'd be good for the show and the club." And he was like, "Great idea." And so we kind of just moved hopefully the energy and the feel of the New York club to Las Vegas, and we did. It's a great club, and it's been growing every day. Even during the coronavirus, we're sold out.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, listen, we're glad we're glad that you're here. I know that was a joke.
One by you.
It took me 2 seconds to get that one, but that was funny. Well, listen, Mark, we're glad that you're here. We hope that the Comedy Cellar opens up so long as it's safe for everyone. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. Please stay safe, my friend, and I really do look forward to seeing you up on stage sometime soon because you're hilarious.
I hope we'll toast each other in a couple of weeks.
That would be awesome. Mark, thank you so much for coming on, man. Really do appreciate it.
Good talking to you. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mark.
Yep, that's Mark Cohen, MC of the Comedy Cellar. He's been a stand-up comic for a very, very, very long time and really good at what he does.